So I've got a little bit of deja vu when making this video. I'm not sure if I have already made a video talking about this or whether I have talked about this in a Q&A episode. I have tried to find this video because I feel like I have already made this video, but I just can't find it on the channel, unfortunately. So if I have already talked about this before, then I really must apologise. I probably might have already talked about this briefly in a Q&A episode, but I will be going more in depth on this idea in this video. So I am really surprised that we didn't get a brand new game mode for the multiplayer to tie in with the Octo expansion DLC. I have already talked about the potential modes that we could have got on the channel before, but I did expect us to get a brand new game mode in the second half of 2018, kind of like what happened in 2017 where we did get Clan Blitz in December 2017. I did expect us to get a brand new multiplayer mode that did tie in the multiplayer with the Octo expansion, just because there are so many ideas in the Octo expansion DLC that could have been used as new game modes in the multiplayer. The one that definitely does stick out in my mind is the Defend the Orb level on Girl Power Station. I originally thought that would be a really cool multiplayer mode, how one team has to destroy the orb, the other one has to hold out for like 3 or 4 minutes, and I thought, you know what, that would work really well as a multiplayer mode. But then I thought about that level even more, and I thought, wouldn't it be really cool if it was, instead of a PvP game mode, if it was a PvE game mode instead, where 4 players would team up online and go against the Octolings. The Octolings would be hard difficulty, and pretty much it would work like Salmon Run, where you would get a set amount of weapons given to you and you have to hold out for 4 minutes or 5 minutes with those weapons, and there would be a constant amount of Octolings spawning trying to destroy the orb. I thought that would be a really cool mode to go alongside Salmon Run. It would have been cool to see another PvE sort of mode, or maybe Nintendo could have incorporated that into Salmon Run, and instead of Octolings coming towards you, you've got an orb to defend in Salmon Run. Maybe it could be a wave instead of like its own separate game mode. Maybe it could be a wave in Salmon Run instead, and instead of collecting eggs, pretty much the bonus wave would be to hold out, and if you did hold out, maybe you would get bonus points. Maybe it could be a 4th wave instead of replacing one of the 3 waves that you do get, so you would get 3 normal waves. So like if you do pass it, maybe this is something for like professional players, then you would move on to this bonus sort of wave where you've got an orb to defend. I feel like there is definitely potential there for this Defend the Orb level to be its own game mode within multiplayer. I feel like this would definitely work as a multiplayer mode, or it would work in a PvE setting where you've got 4 players teaming up online and you've got to hold out for as long as possible. Maybe it could be the typical sort of horde mode that we still haven't really got in Splatoon 2. Salmon Run is definitely a lot different to the typical horde mode where you've got to hold out for as long as possible. But I guess the counter to that is that if this Defend the Orb sort of level would be a typical sort of horde mode, then there would have to be special rounds in there. I'm not really sure what rounds they could do for that. Maybe they could have basically rounds where the Octolings would just use special weapons only. So you got like 4 or 5 Octolings in ballers, 4 or 5 Octolings in inkjets, 4 or 5 rushing towards you using splashdown, 4 or 5 of them using the Ultra Stamp or the Booyah Bomb. So yeah, I kind of feel like there's definitely potential, or there was potential there for Nintendo to turn the Defend the Orb level into a multiplayer mode, or a wave in Salmon Run, or maybe its own horde mode. Like I said, Nintendo still haven't done a typical sort of zombies from Call of Duty game mode where you got to hold out for as long as possible, but I feel like Nintendo could have used that Defend the Orb sort of game mode as a horde mode, and then they would just create certain stages, like 4 or 5 stages. One of them could be the level from the Octo Expansion DLC. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. I am really disappointed that Nintendo didn't really do anything from the Octo Expansion and use it in the multiplayer in terms of doing it as a game mode. Yes, they are using certain elements in the Shifty Station stages, but I feel like there are mechanics in the DLC that would work really well as a multiplayer mode or as another new mode. I don't think we will ever get this sort of thing now, unfortunately, but there was definitely potential there. I just really wanted to discuss that in this video and see what you guys have to say about this in the comment section below. Would you have been a fan of Defend the Orb moving not just from the Octo Expansion DLC, not just being Octo Expansion DLC exclusive, but it would be available either in the multiplayer, Salmon Run, or as its own separate game mode? So that is it for this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it, and I will see you in another video soon. By the way, if you want to see this Defend the Orb gameplay as its own video, I did record my reactions to when I did play on this level back in June. So if you want to check out that video, I will leave a link to it in the description below. But that is it for this video, and I will see you next time, hopefully.